The first men's professional tournament since the restart is finally coming to a close as Novak Djokovic and Milos Raonic square off in the Western and Southern Open finals. Will Djokovic make history as the first man to win all 9 Masters twice? Or will Raonic take home his biggest title of his career? I'll look further into this matchup and give my picks of who I believe will win here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. After his first round bye, Novak beat Ricardas Berankis in a tough 7-6, 6-4 match. Afterwards, he had a much easier one against Tennys Sandgren, beating him 6-2, 6-4. The quarterfinals saw Novak take his most decisive victory over Jan-Lennart Struff, winning 6-3, 6-1. The semis against Bautista Agut was totally different, as he staged a comeback victory in a roller coaster 4-6, 6-4, 7-6 triumph. Milos, on the other hand, faced fellow big server Sam Querrey in his opener, winning 6-4, 6-4. He then beat informed Dan Evans 3-6 before dispatching of another confident Brit Andy Murray 2-2. His quarterfinal match against team slayer Filip Krajinovic wasn't like this at all, as Milos had to stave off a match point to beat the Serbian 4-6, 7-6, 7-5. Lastly, Raonic outclassed 4th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas 7-6, 6-3. The head-to-head between these two is just about one-sided as it gets, with the Joker leading Raonic 10-0. Their last meeting came earlier this year at the Australian Open quarterfinals, where Novak sent Milos packing in straight sets. Their other last meeting was actually 2 years ago at the Western and Southern Open, Raonic this time managing a set. In their 10 meetings, Raonic has won just 2 sets, as his game style fits perfectly into Novak's. Even at the Australian Open, Milos was on fire prior to facing him, as he hadn't been broken all tournament. He was broken twice against Novak, and that's all the world number 1 needed. Comparing their careers as a whole, Djokovic, being the legend he is, of course is far more accomplished, outweighing Raonic in ranking, titles, career prize money, and even year-to-date record. For Milos to reverse history, he needs to be cautious about his inside-out forehand. That shot is one of his favorites, and is very effective against most of his opponents, except for Novak. Because of its spin and kind of sitting nicely in Novak's strike zone, oftentimes the Serbian would redirect that ball with the backhand down the line, putting Raonic on the move. In yesterday's semi, Roberto Bautista Agut effectively hit those inside outs to the Djokovic backhand, much in part due to the flatness he had on it. In a complete contrast, I believe an effective strategy for Milos would be to put more air on his return to give him more time, then go more inside in. He really worked that strategy well against Stefanos and can for sure do the same to Novak. Just to clarify, Milos' inside out is good for approaches, but not so much for normal neutral balls. The next point is for Raonic to not be afraid to hit through his backhand and wean off of the slice a bit more. This key is very self-explanatory. I believe that in Australia, Milos' defensive and even position slices did very little, and if he actually hits through that shot like we've been seeing all week, I think he'll get a much better response. The 4th key is also very straightforward, which is to make as many returns as possible. Much of Bautista Agut's success against Novak and the reason why he was so competitive in his service games was simply because of the high number of returns he got back in the court. In Australia, Raonic both missed many returns, and when he did make them, hit them very short, which allowed Djokovic to dictate. My final point for Raonic is the most important, which is to stay close with Novak. Djokovic is an excellent front runner, as so often in these matchups, he grabs that early advantage, making it hard for Raonic to stay competitive and induce scoreboard pressure. This must change here if Raonic wants a chance at the title. For Novak to continue his dominance over Raonic, he should continue his effective strategies of hitting slightly off from the middle to Raonic's forehand. The Canadian tends to run around that shot to hit the forehand, which opens up the court for Novak to give him the opportunity to run him by hitting up the line. Another effective strategy Novak has when playing Milos is getting him stretched to the backhand corner, then dictating. While this has improved over the break, Raonic's movement to that side isn't the best and oftentimes offers a weak reply to which his opponents can take great advantage of. While on the topic of movement, I believe Novak should mix in the drop shot when possible because Raonic only likes to come to net on his terms and doesn't like to be forced forward. The penultimate point is to cover Milos' favorite serves, which are the wide ones to both sides. Not giving him those easy looks greatens the chance of him hitting his more uncomfortable serves, which in turn creates more second serves. Last but not least, Novak, when serving, should try to jam Milos because the Canadian has a very late contact point on both wings. Going straight into the prediction because it's 2 a.m. and I'm very tired, I believe Milos will take the title, beating Novak in 3 sets. I was very close to actually giving this match to Novak, but the Serbian's physicality for me is an unknown, with first his neck and now his stomach problems. Against Agut, Novak oftentimes hunched over and had very difficulty breathing. He couldn't even complete his press conference after the match because doctors advised him against it. I believe he'll be okay to play, but when the match reaches its latter stages, I'm unsure whether he'll hold out. If Novak wants to win, I feel that it has to be in straight sets because he wants to limit his time on court as much as possible. Not to mention his first US Open match is on Monday. This match is definitely one of Raonic's biggest, as he'd be accomplishing 2 big feats, winning his first Masters title and beating Novak Djokovic. Like Azarenka, Raonic hasn't won a title since 2016, let alone a Masters 1000. This could play a role, but I think he'll be ready to make that big step, as he's had a completely different look about him this week. No, it's not just the hair, but Milos just looks like he has something to prove since the resumption and is a man on a mission. He's improved his footwork, movement, and overall game from the ground, but most notably different is his renewed confidence. I can for sure see Novak playing a solid set, but start to falter a bit while Milos rises to the occasion and wins the biggest title of his career. That's all for this match preview, and do you feel that Raonic will win, or will Djokovic prove me wrong and take home his second Golden Masters? Let me know whether you agree with my picks and predictions in the comment section below, and subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.